Well, hey guys, welcome to this week's video. We've got turkey season behind us right now, and Ned has been out doing a little bit of fishing. He just picked up a new boat for this year, so we're going to be getting out on his boat quite a bit throughout the summer, just having fun, enjoying the nice weather, and we're going to try and share that with you. Obviously, we're not experts when it comes to filming by no means, but especially when it comes to fishing. So but we're gonna have fun, we're gonna laugh with it, so hopefully you guys laugh with us as well, because it's a lot of fun just getting together and getting out on the boats with friends and just having a good time, taking advantage of everything that we have to take advantage of in the outdoors. It beats sitting in front of the television and wishing we were out there. But I'm up at the food plot today, and I've been looking at it. I haven't been here much really at all during turkey season, but we've been getting a lot of pictures on our reveal cell cameras. We've got some bucks in velvet that are starting to grow that we're really liking. We've got one that looks like he's going to be a pretty good buck, so we're going to keep a really close eye on him. And that's the idea with these food plots, is to really start drawing those deer in. I've got 2 reveal cell cameras set up at this food plot here, one right at the entrance and then one inside the food plot, so we can see them coming through the woods, coming through the food plot. We did a frost seed this year, as we always do. I did it actually earlier than normal, and I'm not sure if that helped it or hindered it. We did the resurrection clover and the chicory again from Killer Food Plots, and it's coming up, but in the fall when we're doing an overseed. We overseeded this plot with triticale, and that has flourished this spring. As you can see, the triticale is about 3 feet high. The deer are in it, they're eating, they're working through it, they're using it as a cover to move through out into this. So this big field that's out in front of me here right now on our farm, I think the last 2 years this was like a cover crop last year, but down below was corn. The entire farm this year is going to be soybean. So we're going to have great food sources here despite our little food plot that's going to have deer coming to it, which is cool because we've got a tree stand set up over the camera. We've got one there. I can get in the saddle anywhere around here, which is exactly what we want. On the other side of this tree line behind the camera, that also was a cornfield last year. This year, it looks like they've just planted some kind of a grass or a wheat field this year, just to kind of probably build some nitrogen or whatnot. Maybe they'll plant it something different later in the fall, we'll see. But the food plot had some weeds coming up in it, so what I did today is I just kind of went around the food plot, surveyed it. I wanted to see how the clover was growing and the chicory growing amongst the triticale. My hope was that this triticale was going to provide a little bit of a cover, provide nutrients into the soil, and allow that clover and chicory, more importantly, because we've struggled with the chicory growing in this plot. The clover has done really, really well, but to see that, hopefully it's coming up. Now we've got some weeds coming up. We're going to have to spray this eventually at some point. But what I did today was I just brought my weed eater, and I weed eated the entrance going into the food plot, an entrance in the corner below it, and one up above it. And those are the areas that I'm going to focus on, where I want the deer to come in to the food plot from or exit the food plot from. And giving them those cleaner corridors is going to help you determine your patterning, where you want to set up, especially with me in the saddle in this food plot. It's not a really big plot, but it's going to determine where these deer are coming out, where I can get my shots. The other thing is, we had weeds growing up, so the triticale has centered itself pretty much right up the heart of the food plot, which is what you want. But the outsides of it, we've got some weed growth. So what I did was I took the weed growth and I just cut it down right to the top of the clover. I didn't want to cut the clover at this point. I know some people may mow the clover. We're not going to do that. My goal is I want that clover to flourish because it's still a lot of young growth in there. I didn't want to cut it right away. There are some past season's growth that are actually starting to bloom. Looks like some crimson clover and whatnot in there, which is great. It's going to reseed, put more down into the soil. But I just wanted to take the tops of those weeds off, pulled some weeds where I could, and then left the outsides clean. That's also going to help those deer work around it a little bit and maybe help them forage on the outsides and let that stuff inside grow a little bit more. The other thing at the top of the food plot, that's where we struggle because it doesn't get as much sunlight as the bottom. We've been able to clear the canopy on this food plot over the year and get enough sunlight down, and when we do that, frost seed stuff grows really, really good before, obviously, spring comes, everything just explodes with green and you lose a lot of sunlight in there. So the top part of the plot, although there is clover growing, it's not as thick as from the bottom. I'd say the bottom 3/4, if not just a little bit more. It's just the very top of it. So what we've got up there, and what I'm going to look to do this year is Scrape Fix, one of our partners, has come out with obviously the vine. We've been using it. I freshened the vine up at the entrance here. We get a lot of pictures on our reveal cell camera at that vine. We've got one down here that I got to freshen up before I leave. But they've also come out with an attachment that you can put on a tree or attach it to anything and put a vine in it, put a limb in it for that matter. So it's a Scrape Fix. It's kind of like I forget the name of it, but it's the stick or something like that. I'm going to get one of those and I'm going to attach it to this single tree right at the top of that food plot, and we're also going to do mock scrape up there. The deer are coming. It's right inside where one of the trails are that I have mowed down for the deer to come in and out of, and there are deer tracks up there. The other thing, looking at the food plot, we do have a water source on our neighbor's property. It's a pond down below. But if you're hunting up top here, you don't have any water source. So my thought was I may buy a small retention pond. You can get them at Tractor Supplies or whatnot, like nothing big. Dig a hole and put that down in there and create our own water source at the top of this food plot, and take the rest of that soil and reallocate it that we dig that hole from down at the bottom of the food plot to build that up, because we usually collect a lot of water down on the bottom when we get heavy rains, and then obviously that bottom part of that plot doesn't grow as well. So if we can build that soil base up a little bit, maybe we'll get a little bit better growth down at the bottom, which gets a lot of sunlight. So some ideas going through this, and that's why you want to get out here. It's a nice cool Sunday morning. Take a look at your food plots. Obviously we don't want to put a lot of scent out, but it's early in the season. The deer coming through this morning. I waited a little bit. I wanted to get down here earlier, but I had buck in the food plot this morning at 6:30. Plenty of daylight. I could have been down here working, but I let those deer come through the food plot, feed out, go about their business, and then I came down and took care of what I wanted to take care of this morning. Not a real big project, just something quick. We'll keep up with this throughout the summer, and I think the next time I come, which will probably be within the next week or so, we're going to do another feeding of this food plot. We'll get some of the organics. I'll put another fertilizing feed down to help that clover that's down in the bottom of that triticale and that chicory just continue to really pop. We want to feed it throughout the summer, like every 2 to 3 months. So it's been almost 3 months since we did the frost seed. We did fertilize it when we did the frost seed, so I think that really helped a lot of everything that's going on in there. So then I'll probably next weekend I'll come up here and I'll do another feeding with the organics on this food plot, and and then every 2 months we'll do that as we get through the summer and see how things start to go. We may mow this, I don't know yet. If you do anything like this, if you mow, let us know in the comments how you handle your food plots. But this is what I'm looking at. Wally's food plot seems to be growing really, really well. And we've got another food plot down at our buddy Daryl's that we still have to plant. So we've got some work to do this summer to get going. Now that turkey season's done, we can focus on the food plots. We're going to do some coyote hunting. We're going to do some fishing, and just really get ready for deer season. So that's pretty much what we're doing. We're going to keep it pretty simple throughout the summer. We're all busy. It's a time of year where you spend a lot of time with your family, because we spend a lot of time in the woods when we're chasing deer, hunting turkeys, whatever the case may be. So Thanks for following along this week's episode, guys. Nothing really long, but we wanted to share the updates on at least our food plot up here, what it looks like, what we're doing, some thought processes. If you have any ideas, throw them in the comments below, and as always, click that subscribe button. We appreciate your support. I'm going to get out of here, go do some work down at Mom and Dad's. We'll see you on next week's episode.